So in this video, I'm going to share with you my exact pre-exam framework, which I've developed after almost a decade of doing exams through engineering school, through some difficult high school programs. And I'm going to share with you some tips that I honestly have never heard talked about on this study internet. So hopefully it's going to help you. I'm going to help you reduce your stress. I'm going to help you feel more confident for your exams because I'm not even kidding. For me, exam season was literally my favorite time of the semester. I know it sounds like a completely nerdy thing to say, but that's completely true. I literally learned to love exam season. So hopefully I can give you some of that energy here in this video. So let's talk about it. I'm gonna get straight into it. No more wasting time. Okay, so first tip I wanna give you when it comes to exams. I'm 26 by the way, so yeah, it's been over a decade that I've done exams. But the first tip I wanna give you is, this might seem like a weird one, but hear me out. So basically, I'll tell you the story of how I realized it. So it was 2017 and I was in high school, IB program it was called, and I was about to do my first exam. So for 2 years I had been preparing for these exams and I was about to do the first one in the season, economics. And I'm feeling good. I got 8 hours of sleep. I literally prepared a lot. I was feeling confident, socialized with some people, got some exercise. I was feeling good, got some sunlight. I was feeling good for this exam. And then I go to the exam, I sit down in the exam, and out of nowhere, I get hit with a massive wave of sleepiness. Just out of nowhere, I just feel sleepy, completely out of nowhere. It was completely unexpected. And it completely affected the rest of my exam. I couldn't think, I couldn't use my cognitive brain. I was struggling to think. It was an essay writing subject. I was really struggling. And after the exam, I reflected, okay, what happened? Why did I lose suddenly my wakefulness? What happened? And I realized it was because of that huge bowl of pasta that I had before. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what sleepiness is, why sometimes you just randomly get sleepy in your exam, why you sometimes get randomly sleepy. And I'm going to talk about diet as well. It's not all to do with diet, but diet is a big part of it. So I want to talk about diet first. So because I ate that big bowl of pasta, it affected me very badly. Now, I've done a ton of research. This was the first time I realized that diet affects you when it comes to using your brain. But since then, I've done a ton of research and I've literally been obsessed with optimizing my diet. Literally first thing in the morning, I literally have a very specific amount of protein and literally 4 Brazil nuts. Like I've literally optimized my diet around my work. Because my work is like, I do a lot of business work, so it really requires me to use my mind. So I've done a lot of research on how diet affects the mind, and I've done a ton of experiments personally, experimenting with different foods. And I'll tell you 3 things that I've realized when it comes to diet. So the first thing, by the way, is diet affects everybody differently. Different people have different, genetic dispositions. Some people are going to be affected a lot less than others. So the main thing I can tell you is do your own experimentations. Eat something and see how it affects you cognitively. For example, about an hour ago, I had a bowl of oats, and now I'm feeling a bit sleepy, not going to lie. And I know that I'm going to be feeling sleepy till about 2 hours, then my energy is actually going to go up. So become like a scientist, understanding how different foods affect you mentally, and it'll give you a massive advantage in the modern day when you can really understand what makes you think worse, what affects your focus more. So the first principle I can give you is, in general, bigger meals are going to make you more tired, because the bigger the meal you eat, the more the blood flow in your body is going to go towards digestion, rest and digest mode. So before your exam, before your study sessions even, ideally you don't want to eat too much. You don't want to be stuffing your face. The other day, I went to an Indian restaurant and I had like a massive, with my friend, bowl of curry, these chapatis. I think we had some papadum, like a bunch of these random different foods, Indian foods, which had so many carbs, so much meat, so much sauce, so much oil and everything. It was delicious. It was literally amazing. But I went to the library immediately after that, and no joke, for 2 hours, I was struggling to keep my eyes open. So big meals, number 1. Number 2, in a large majority of people, I'll say about 2/3 of people, according to the research, grease is going to make you feel very heavy, very tired. Complex carbs is going to make you feel very tired, and sugar as well. So those 3 ingredients, ideally you want to avoid before exams or keep it to a minimum. Again, do your own experimentation. Now the third thing I want to mention here is actually a mindset when it comes to tiredness. So here's the interesting thing. Tiredness is actually an emotion. Now this might seem a bit weird, but what an emotion is, trust me, this is gonna help you. An emotion is your body's response to a thought. Let's say you get angry. You get the thought of like, wow, this guy, he's bullying me, right? Your body reacts to this thought with emotion. What it does is it pumps certain chemicals inside you and it makes you feel a certain sensation. So when you get angry, maybe your chest gets very hot, your face gets very hot. For me, my face gets hot when I'm angry, my chest gets hot, literally my arms are like twitching. It's like I'm ready to fight or something. So an emotion is your body's response to a thought. Tiredness is exactly the same in many situations. You get a thought, and that thought actually makes you feel tired. Because what is tiredness? If you're very, very observant, you realize, at least for me, this is my experience of tiredness. My eyes feel very heavy. My forehead feels so heavy. My neck is feeling like so heavy. My back is feeling like bent over. My legs are feeling weak. This is, for me, the experience of tiredness. So in many cases, I don't know about all cases, I'm not a psychologist here. I'm just telling you based on my experience. In many cases, tiredness is an emotion. And they've done a ton of research out there that proves that if you label emotions, you observe emotions, then it actually takes away their it makes them weaker. So when you're angry, and instead of getting like completely consumed by the anger, if you're able to actually step back for a little bit, easier said than done, but if you're actually able to step back a little bit and observe the anger inside you and just be aware like, wow, I'm angry, then it takes away some of its power. But basically, it's the exact same thing with tiredness. So if you ever get tired, if you can observe it like it's an emotion, you will take away a lot of its power. So this is a mindset that I've been using a lot recently. I've actually been forcing myself to go to the library to work in the middle of the day as an experiment recently. Because in the middle of the day, this is when I get so tired, this is when my energy literally drops. I've been forcing myself to work during that time as an experiment. And what I do is the tiredness still is inside me. I still feel the tiredness, but I don't feed it. I don't get like pulled into the thoughts of thinking like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm feeling so bad. I just try my best to observe the tiredness and still turn up and work. And what I've realized is the tiredness has significantly reduced in power, its power has significantly reduced inside of me. So the mindset I want to give you is, look, if you're tired, you can't control that. The tiredness may hit you, you can't control it, but you can control your reaction to it. And if you don't feed your thoughts when it comes to tiredness, you will take away a lot of its power. So hopefully that helped you. Okay, the next tip I want to give you is to do with sleep. Now, I'm not going to say like you have to sleep 8 hours a day. I'm not going to give you some sleep tips here. You've all heard that, but I'm actually going to give you a very interesting mindset. So I first realized this during high school. I had 2 physics exams back to back, literally about 6 hours of physics exams. And I had prepared really, really well for it. But it was 9 a.m. the night before the exam. I wanted to get a couple more hours of study in. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to have a cup of coffee, do a couple hours of study, go to sleep, crush the exam. So I had the cup of coffee. And here's the thing. I did not drink much coffee that time. I was not a coffee drinker. So I took instant coffee. And I think I accidentally put about 3 times the regular dose of instant coffee. And I drank it. And 3 a.m. I'm lying in bed trying to sleep, can't sleep. 4 a.m. can't sleep. 6 a.m. the birds are literally singing, I can't sleep. And I'm stressed at this point. It's 6 a.m., my exam's in a couple hours. I've gotten 0 hours of sleep. I've literally prepared for this exam for 2 years. And because of 1 cup of coffee, me versus 1 cup of coffee, I'm about to fail my exam. It's 7 a.m., I've gotten almost no sleep. I'm literally like, you know how it feels to do an all-nighter. You literally feel horrible. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. And I've got to go to 6 hours of exams with this feeling inside me. But I managed to turn up to the exams with a ton of adrenaline pumping in me. And I managed to do the best in the class. Now, I'm not flexing here, but what I want to educate you on is that 1 night of bad sleep is not going to affect you as badly as you think. Because your body is actually capable of overdrive, if that makes sense. Now, sleep deprivation in the long term for many days in a row, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's going to affect you. But one night of sleep deprivation, your body can actually handle it. It can pump you full of adrenaline and you can actually do a lot better than you think. Now, I'm not telling you this so you can do an all-nighter before the exam. That is, honestly, it's not worth it, spending those couple extra hours sacrificing your sleep. But the point I want to make here is you can still perform well if you sleep badly. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because this used to be my experience. I would lie in bed and I would remember the advice that I heard online. Make sure you sleep well before your exam. Make sure you sleep well before your exam. And so I'd be lying there in bed thinking, okay, I gotta sleep now. I gotta sleep now. I gotta sleep now. And what happens when you're lying in bed and you tell yourself you have to sleep now? The exact opposite of what you want happens, right? The more you need to sleep, the more you're unable to sleep. Because you start getting stressed. You start getting stressed that you can't sleep. And because you're stressed, then you can't sleep. In a weird paradoxical way, the nights you don't actually need to sleep, that's when you sleep faster. So the tip I want to give you is don't stress too much if you can't sleep the night before the exam. Now, obviously, get your sleep in. But if you can't sleep, don't stress too much, just accept it. And one, I guarantee you'll actually be able to sleep more likely. But two, you'll be fine even if you lose sleep deprivation for one night. It's happened to me many times. I've been stressed the night before the exam and I wasn't able to sleep. I still managed to perform okay. I'll give you a quick bonus tip here, by the way. I honestly, in university, I think I did one all-nighter. Because this is a rule I gave myself that will actually help you. If you tell yourself that, let's say 10 p.m., 11 p.m., the night before the exam, you are going to stop studying, you will miraculously get all your work done by that time. So what I did was I banned myself from doing all-nighters. And you might think like, oh, but aren't you leaving a lot of time on the table there? Can't you make use of that night time to study? Well, there's something you need to understand called Parkinson's law. Basically what that means is a task will compress to the time you allocate towards it. If you give yourself a month to do an exam, to do an essay, you will complete that essay literally on the last day it's due. But if you gave yourself, in a weird way, only 3 days to do the essay, you would still get the essay done with the same quality of work. So with your exams, what I'll tell you is give yourself an artificial deadline. So for me, 10 p.m. the night before the exam, I literally, like a ceremony, I closed all the tabs, I put away all my past papers, and I told myself I am done studying for this exam. Everything else is up to fate. And I felt like I was free because I felt like the exam is done now because I've done everything I can. So all I could do was literally just relax and just rock up to the exam. I never studied my notes outside the hall. I was done by that time. And trust me, your brain will work to get the work done by that time. So just pretend that your exam is actually a little bit earlier than it actually is. And you will actually get your work done faster and you will feel way more relaxed before the exam. Okay, final tip I want to give you is how to deal with stress in your exam. Because all the advice I hear online when it comes to exam stress sucks. I hear advice online that says, oh bro, the reason you feel stressed going into your exam, you just haven't prepared enough. You need to prepare more. But if you're like me and you're a massive overthinker, you could literally be so prepared for the exam. You could literally be getting 100% on past exam papers, and you're still going to be stressed walking into that exam hall. So the answer is honestly not to prepare more. The answer is to actually calm your stress response. So what you need to understand is stress is a completely illogical thing. For example, I'm sure there's some things you've been stressed about. When you look back, you just think, why was I stressed about such a small thing? So the thing is, you could logically be completely prepared for your exam, but your body, your mind is still going to react with stress. It's completely out of your control. So all you can do is you can actually realize that stress is, remember I said earlier that an emotion is your body's reaction to a thought? When you get a stressful thought, that's what makes you stressed. You get a stressful thought and your body reacts with stress. So the stress response in your body is like, cortisol pumping in you, you're feeling very agitated, more energy, maybe your palms are sweaty, your chest is pumping, your heart is beating. For me, my hands get sweaty. And here's the interesting thing about stress. Stress is actually a good thing because stress is your body preparing you for action. So the reason stress affects us negatively, it's not actually the stress response that affects us. It's not the energy being pumped into our body. That's not the reason stress affects us. The reason stress affects us is because we let our minds spiral out of control. So our body prepares us for an event by pumping us with energy, and we start spiraling into the future, into the past. We think, oh man, I failed this exam last time. Oh, I'm gonna fail again. Oh, I haven't prepared enough. Oh, John is so prepared. He literally wrote so many notes. I've wrote nothing. I failed that question yesterday. I'm gonna fail again. Oh, I'm not gonna get to my dream job. My parents are gonna hate me. We spiral out of control, and that's why the stress response affects us. It's not the stress itself. It's not the feeling in our body that makes us perform badly. It's our spiraling out of control reaction that affects us. So if we can control this spiraling out of control, then we can control our stress response. So my friend Tushar, who literally mentored me on my mental health for many years, he taught me this thing that I can teach you. Big thing for me, by the way, is when I get stressed these days, I sort of just meditate. Like I do a sort of mini meditation, focusing on my breath or whatever, observing the stress response. But if you're not somebody who meditates, I can give you another quick thing to actually cut off that thought loop that's going on. So what you need to do is you need to get out of the future, out of the past, out of your thoughts, and into the present moment, into your body basically. So one thing you can do that he taught me was if you're in the exam, just hold your water bottle. Hold your water bottle and feel the sensations on your hand from the water bottle and feel how they change. Really observe the coldness of the water bottle, really like pay close attention to it, really feel every single feeling on your hands. And what you'll notice is it will take a lot of that energy away from your thoughts and into these feelings here. And chances are your stress response will go down. Now again, I'm not a psychologist here. Try this out yourself to see if this is something that helps you. Or maybe you're going to want to search on your own different ways to calm your stress response. Maybe you want to try deep breathing. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make here is all the advice online that talks about stress is terrible. It's not your fault that you're stressed in the exam. People will say it's your fault because you need to prepare more. It's not your fault. It's your body just reacting with a response, and you can't control that. It depends on your past. It depends on what happened to you in your life. So I hope that helped you. Good luck with your exam. But apart from that, see you later.